Welcome back to TLC Pro. Thank you for joining me once again. As we dive deep into the stories that the cameras don't always show, and the truths that reality TV sometimes tries to keep hidden. Today, we're uncovering one of the most shocking, disturbing, and heartbreaking stories ever connected to 1000 Delby sisters. A story so graphic, so intense, and so life-threatening that TLC allegedly decided to bury it forever. This isn't just another health scare. This isn't just another trip to the hospital or a dramatic moment of family tension. What we're talking about today is Tammy Slaton's terrifying near-death nightmare. A medical emergency that insiders say pushed her body to the absolute brink. And yet was completely erased from the show. For years, fans have followed Tammy's journey on 1000 Delby sisters. From the very beginning, she's been the lightning rod of the series. Her fiery temper, her stubborn personality, her explosive fights with Amy, all of it has made her one of the most controversial figures in reality TV. But beyond the drama, Tammy has also been a symbol of struggle, of pain, and of survival. We've seen her hooked up to oxygen, struggling just to breathe. We've seen her collapse in doctors' offices, told over and over again that if she doesn't change, her life expectancy will be cut short. We've seen her lash out at her family out of frustration, only to break down moments later, admitting her fear of death. And most of all, we've seen the world judge her harshly, branding her as lazy, unmotivated, or ungrateful. But what most fans didn't see, because it was hidden, was the moment when Tammy's worst nightmare nearly came true. In early 2025, she faced something so horrific that even her long history of medical emergencies couldn't prepare her. This wasn't about weight loss goals or mobility struggles. This was about survival. Reports say it began innocently enough. Small sores began to appear on Tammy's skin in areas constantly under pressure due to her limited mobility. For an average person, these might have been minor irritations, something that could be treated quickly. But for Tammy, whose immune system had been battered for years, those tiny wounds opened the door to something deadly. Bacteria entered her system. And what started as small marks escalated at an alarming speed. Within days, her skin began to blacken. Blisters formed. The infection spread with horrifying speed, fueled by her poor circulation and compromised health. Doctors later identified it as necrotizing fasciitis, a rare but deadly flesh-eating infection. Imagine for a moment what that means. The very tissue of her body was being eaten alive, destroyed from the inside out. The smell, according to insiders, was unbearable. The sight was so shocking that even hardened medical staff struggled to keep their composure. Tammy wasn't just sick, she was decaying. Her family rushed to her side, only to be told by doctors that she might not survive the next 24 hours. Emergency surgery was her only chance. The infection was spreading too fast. Without immediate action, it would reach her bloodstream, triggering full septic shock and certain death. Now picture the scene. Tammy on a hospital bed, hooked up to machines, her body failing, surgeons preparing to cut away infected flesh in a desperate attempt to save her life. The same woman viewers had seen arguing with Amy, laughing in confessionals, or struggling on her weight loss journey was now fighting for every single breath. And yet, none of this made it to air. None of it. The cameras, which had followed Tammy through breakdowns, humiliations, and endless drama, suddenly went dark. According to production insiders, TLC executives decided this storyline was simply too much. Too graphic. Too disturbing. Too damaging for their brand. On the show, viewers were given vague, carefully chosen updates. Tammy isn't doing too well. She needs time to recover. That's it. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, she was undergoing multiple surgeries, each one involving doctors, literally cutting away parts of her flesh to stop the infection from spreading. The family was devastated and furious. Amy, already exhausted from years of being Tammy's caretaker, reportedly broke down in tears, demanding that producers tell the truth. Amanda, the sister known for her blunt honesty, was enraged, accusing TLC of using Tammy when it was convenient, and abandoning her when things got serious. And Chris, always the steady voice, warned producers that the truth would eventually come out, and when it did, the network's credibility would shatter. But perhaps the most heartbreaking part of all is that Tammy herself wanted the story told. Despite her pain, despite her shame, she believed fans deserved to know what she endured. According to insiders, she begged producers, "Why shouldn't people know if I nearly died? That's real life. That's my reality." For Tammy, the infection wasn't just another chapter. It was proof of her resilience. Proof that she wasn't lazy, that she wasn't giving up, that she was fighting harder than ever to stay alive, but her plea was ignored. Instead, TLC chose to silence her, to erase her pain, and to continue selling the edited version of her life that fit their narrative. When Tammy eventually stabilized, she was left with permanent scars, both physical and emotional. Large patches of skin were gone, replaced with raw, painful wounds that took months to heal. But the scars inside ran even deeper. She felt betrayed, silenced, and stripped of her truth. Meanwhile, fans noticed something was wrong. Tammy disappeared from social media for weeks, sparking rumors. When she finally returned, she wore baggy clothes, often covering herself with blankets during lives, avoiding camera angles that might reveal too much. Online forums exploded with speculation. Whispers of a flesh-eating infection spread like wildfire, with some even claiming hospital staff had leaked details anonymously. Posts appeared, disappeared, and reappeared again, fueling suspicion that TLC was actively shutting down leaks. And this raises an uncomfortable question. If TLC was willing to hide this, what else have they hidden? Reality TV is supposed to be raw and unfiltered. But when the most dramatic and life-threatening moment of Tammy's life was erased, fans were forced to ask themselves, how much of 1002 LB Sisters is reality, and how much is carefully constructed fiction? Tammy's ordeal may have nearly killed her, but in the end, it also changed her. Friends say she now carries herself differently, with more determination, but also with deep mistrust. She knows the cameras don't tell her full story. She knows her pain has been edited out. And she knows that in the moment she wanted her struggle to be shown, her voice was silenced. And that's the chilling truth about Tammy Slaton's hidden 2025 infection. Not just a medical emergency, but a story of survival, betrayal, and the disturbing lengths a network may go to protect its image. So the next time you watch 1000 LB Sisters and see Tammy laughing, arguing, or trying to get healthier, remember, there are chapters of her story you'll never see. Chapters that may be darker, more painful, and more real than anything the cameras have ever shown. Because sometimes, reality TV isn't about showing reality at all. It's about hiding it.